Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we cut through the noise to give you the strategic shortcuts you need. Today, we have a fascinating mission. We're zooming out way past the usual headlines to really analyze a corporate empire that is, well, it's quickly becoming a critical piece of global power, and specifically how it's tied to U.S. national security.
That's right. For this deep dive, we are digging into the strategic architecture of Elon Musk's businesses. And for that, we're using a really dense piece of analysis from Aquaviz, that's pronounced Aquaviz Advisors. It's titled Elon Musk and His Rising Importance. And we're also pulling from their related thread on X.
Yeah, and our goal here is not to get into stock prices or, the latest controversy. Our goal is to use their analytical framework, which they call the pillars of power, to connect the dots. We want to show you how this collection of companies.
Well, they aren't just random ventures.
No, they're highly integrated strategic chess pieces.
Exactly. We're going to distill this massive analysis down to its core. Okay, so let's define that framework right away. The Aquaviz Pillars of Power, or POPI for short, are the three sort of non-negotiable domains that really determine global dominance. Those pillars are technology, energy, and money. And the core argument of this article is that Musk's empire intentionally spans all three. Sometimes it even controls key aspects of them all at once.
Okay, I have to push back a little on intentionally. I mean, are we sure? You look at these companies, a car maker, a rocket company, a social media platform, a brain chip startup, it feels so disparate. Are we just imposing a structure on it after the fact because the founder is famous?
That is a crucial question, and it's a fair one. But the analysis makes a really compelling case that the structure is inherent, whether the initial impulse for each company was, let's say, personal or purely strategic. What's fascinating is how this POPI framework reveals the structure underneath it all. It shows how they create these exponential synergies. The paper actually calls it techplexity.
Techplexity, I like that. So you're talking about systems that feed each other, like Tesla's robots are connected by Starlink's network.
Which acts as a nervous system.
Right. And that network feeds data to XAI's intelligence, and all of it is powered by solar, that kind of loop.
Exactly that. And when you look at through that lens, this unseen reality starts to open up. And the point is, you don't have to like the man, but you're forced into this dispassionate, objective view of what's been built. You separate the human from the accomplishments.
Okay, so let's dig in. Let's start where most of the perceived value is right now, and that's pillar one, technology. The Aquaviz article, it sets the bar incredibly high here. It suggests that given the accomplishments rescuing stranded astronauts, a quadriplegic playing chess with their mind, that he might be the Einstein of our generation.
It's a bold claim. And within that technology pillar, we have to start with Tesla. I think the most important reclassification the article offers is this. Tesla is not an auto company. It's a robotics company that just happened to start with wheels.
A robotics company that started with wheels.
Yes. The decision to use electric motors wasn't some grand environmental statement at first. It was just physics. First principles. Electric motors are fundamentally more efficient and cheaper than an internal combustion engine.
That reclassification is huge. It completely changes how you value it. If you're a car company, you've got finite growth. But if you're a robotics and AI company with a massive data advantage, your ceiling is, well, it's a lot higher.
Precisely. Which leads to the concept of the robot fleet. Right now, there are over 7 million Teslas on the road. The source describes these as 7 million plus robots, just relentlessly collecting real-world data 24/7.
And that data is the fuel.
It's the critical fuel. It's high-quality, real-time data that trains the algorithms for full self-driving, for FSD. Without that data advantage, the AI models they can't advance as quickly. It's that simple.
And it's not just the data, it's the manufacturing. The article points out that Tesla and its main Chinese rival, BYD, they share a really key trait.
They do. They're both what you'd call process-oriented manufacturing companies. They are laser-focused on having the lowest possible cost structure, and they do that through robotics and automation, which creates this flywheel where, your labor just gets cheaper and cheaper as you scale up.
So that manufacturing base and the FSD data pipeline, that leads directly to the next thing. The humanoid robot.
To Optimus. The transition from wheeled robots to bipedal humanoid robots. It leverages the exact same tech stack. The dojo chips, the AI algorithms, the global data set.
The applications for that. Fleets of autonomous electric robots, both commercially and for the military. It's staggering to think about.
It is. But if you have an army of robots, they need a way to communicate. They need coordination.
Which brings us to Starlink. This is the strategic bridge in the whole analysis, right? A robot fleet is useless if it can't connect.
It's the required nervous system, or the communication network solution. That's what Starlink is. SpaceX's satellite service that enables constant communication anywhere on Earth. It transforms millions of Tesla bots and all the future Optimus bots into one autonomous, coordinated system, like a colony of ants, as the article puts it.
It's genuinely wild just to realize one private entity provides that kind of global, non-jammable connectivity. The concentration power there is worth a pause.
It absolutely is. And to even get Starlink up there, you need SpaceX. The company was founded to just, lower the cost of space travel with reusable rockets. Now it's an undeniable cornerstone of national security.
The numbers are pretty stark.
They are. SpaceX handles something like 87% of all U.S. orbital launches. When NASA needs to get to space, they call Elon Musk. When there's a conflict like in Ukraine and they need battlefield internet immediately,
They call Elon Musk.
exactly. Control over access to space is critical, and America's power in space is deeply, deeply dependent on this one company.
Okay, so on top of that physical network, you have the intelligence and command layer. Now we're talking about X, XAI, and Neuralink. The acquisition of X, which was Twitter, is framed as controlling a major power vector. Media information, a constant real-time feed of human data.
And that proprietary human data, that fire hose of information from X, that feeds directly into XAI, which was founded to build generalized intelligence. Their AI chatbot, Grok, is partly powered by it. The article really stresses that high-quality first-party data is becoming the single most valuable asset for building a differentiated AI.
So you've got the machine intelligence, but you still need an efficient way for humans to command the machines. And that's where Neuralink fits in.
It's the ultimate human-computer interface, a high-speed link implanted directly in the brain. They're starting with medical uses for quadriplegics.
But the future application
Is the final piece of the technology puzzle. Neuralink provides a direct physical link, an effective communication layer between human and machine. Think about it. Programming or training a robot like Optimus just by thinking. No more clumsy interfaces.
And to close out the physical side, the article briefly mentions the Boring Company as the infrastructure piece, underground tunnels, a physical networking layer. The themes here are they're massive. Transportation, communication, and labor.
It's an undeniable convergence. So if all that technology is the engine, the chassis, the brain, the next question is, where does the fuel come from? And that moves us straight into pillar 2, energy.
And again, it's that foundational first principles thinking. He focuses on natural, sustainable energy by going straight to the source.
To the sun.
Straight to the sun.
The premise is incredibly simple. The sun is a giant nuclear fusion reactor. It's constantly sending us energy. To harness it, you just need two things, a way to capture it and a way to store it.
Which is why Tesla's energy generation and storage segment is so critical to this whole analysis. They provide the full solution. They bought Solar City to capture the energy with panels, and they pair that with advanced battery technology. It's the same core tech from the cars, just scaled up for homes, for businesses, for entire grids.
The vision is enormous. It's the belief that the sun is the only real long-term solution to, infinite and cheap energy. It's a concept that aligns with big ideas, like the Kardashev scale of civilization.
And here we see that techplexity again, right? That interconnection. The reusable rockets from SpaceX's Starship could eventually enable space-based solar power.
Capturing the sun's energy much closer to the source, where it's way more intense, and then beaming it back to Earth. It would just cement that whole infrastructure.
Okay, this brings us perfectly to the final pillar, pillar 3, money. Because none of this happens without massive amounts of capital. These are revolutionary, incredibly expensive businesses.
And his history here is foundational. He co-founded X.com back in 1999, which then merged to become PayPal.
The world's first big digital payments platform. It basically fueled the early growth of e-commerce by making it easy and secure to move money online.
And the analysis points out that he used the money from that sale to seed the very businesses we're talking about today. It was the literal monetary foundation for these pillars of power.
So fast forward to today. The modern vision for money seems to be emerging through the X platform. He supports decentralized ideas like Bitcoin and Dogecoin, and he's actively integrating financial services into X. X Money just launched with Visa.
The aim is pretty clear: a more decentralized, secure, peer-to-peer money network, reducing friction, reducing transaction costs on a global scale.
But the article introduces something else here under the money pillar that's very current. The Department of Government Efficiency Commission,
Yes.
DOGE.
Yes, DOGE.
Why is that a money issue? It sounds more like a policy thing.
It is policy, but at its heart, it's about fiscal sustainability. Think about the scale of the U.S. federal budget. Even tiny inefficiencies add up to trillions of dollars in waste and fraud. The DOGE mission is to evaluate the entire U.S. government for that waste and corruption, and then use modern tech to create massive efficiency gains.
So it's an enormous money-focused task. It's about ensuring the financial foundation of the U.S. government itself is sustainable for the future.
Exactly. It's about controlling the flow of money, removing friction, and ensuring the sustainability of the world's largest economy.
Okay, let's step back and pull this all together. The entire web of companies, whether it was designed this way from day one or just evolved, it focuses squarely on those three pillars of power.
Technology, energy, and money.
And collectively, the structure controls key parts of transportation, communication, and labor. Just, the massive components of human civilization.
The conclusion that Aquavis draws is, it's really difficult to dismiss. You have an individual who sets these seemingly impossible targets, demands work from first principles, and pulls in the world's best engineering talent. And the results, well, they speak for themselves.
And here's the objective reality of it all. When a national crisis hits stranded astronauts, an urgent need for battlefield internet, a major push for government efficiency, the U.S. increasingly calls on this single private entity to deliver.
He is, and this is a quote from the source, unequivocally one of the most important assets to the USA and a cornerstone of national security. You have to respect what's been built, even while, acknowledging the incredible risk that comes with depending so much on one entity.
That's the critical nuance, isn't it?
Yeah.
The analysis ends by reminding us we're in an increasingly multipolar world. While Musk is a critical U.S. asset, other nations are very aware of these pillars of power, and they're building rivals.
A perfect example is China's space sail program. It's a direct competitor to Starlink. They recognize how important that nervous system is for their own future, for their own robotic and economic development.
Which raises a really important question for you, the listener, to explore further. This framework, the pot of P, it helps us understand one player's strategy. But what are the incentives and the strategic moves driving the other global powers? China, Russia, other blocs, how are they trying to build their own interconnected pillars of power? That right there is the essential next step to understanding competition in the 21st century.
A fantastic thought to leave you with. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
Remember to order your mind, harness your money, and shape your future. We'll see you next time.